So, last topic
Mm,
is The Last of Us.
yeah.
So, The Last of Us, episode 3, is an interesting one. Lots and lots of pushback. Like, just doing that topic now, talking about drag, I'm sure there'll be a bunch of people that will twist my words and go, "You're a homophobe.
Mm.
You're a homophobe." And then I reviewed The Last of Us. I reviewed The Last of Us episode 3 positively, and people are like, "You're a fucking bender," and I'm like, "What?"
Oh my
Like, mate,
God.
I can't be both, right? I can't be both. All right, it's got to be one
Wow.
or the other. All right, make your fucking mind up.
Wow.
Excuse the language. So, have
Yeah.
you had this was your idea to cover this, but it's a
I'm
great.
thinking about
Well, it was. Well, it was.
it. I can't
But
believe you just threw me under the bus like that
yeah.
really
Well,
quick.
no, it's a good topic, but look, I mean,
I love it.
let's talk about the backlash to it.
Well,
So,
where
and
do
this,
we want to start with should we start with the episode so people know what we're talking about? Is
yeah,
everyone fully aware?
yeah, let's talk about the episode. I mean, you lead off. You let's talk
Okay.
about the episode itself, and then we'll sort of
Are
get
we doing
into.
spoilers? What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was out on Sunday. We're bloody Tuesday. Let's talk. We'll talk spoilers, but like the only
Light
way you can
spoilers.
talk about this is with spoilers because the
Sure.
episode is very insular, right? It's
Mm.
a world builder. It's setting the stage for emotional ramifications for Joel moving forwards, right? And it's important. Loads of people said it was filler. I disagree. But so you do have to kind of talk about some spoilers for this because it's a very an introspective episode, right? It sets the stage for emotional situations moving forward. So over to you, Paulie.
Okay, so the third episode, guys, is called "Long, Long Time," and it's also the title of the song that's used at the beginning and at the end. A song by Linda Ronstadt from 1970, incredible song, and basically it deals with when a person who has never loved somebody and has literally separated themselves from other people before this happened. That's how this person was living. They become a survivalist and get into all the things, um, and then he finds his purpose after the fact, after uh, this thing happens, in loving and protecting another person.
Mm.
So that just that action right there, um, over the years, because the storytelling kind of jumps as far as the time. We're talking 2003 to 2023. So it jumps back and then it slowly in the episode works its way up 3 years later,
Mm.
4 years later. So you got to kind of keep up. But I want to get to that, why they did that and why I think that was riveting as well. Um,
Mm.
so so by that action, by taking care of somebody and by protecting them, because they're big on that and they bring that up a lot, it lets that person grow as well, and also two challenges and say we need to have friends, we need to basically connect with whoever else there is out there that's surviving. And so by that,
Mm.
Joel and Tess are introduced, and they kind of influence each other, and there's a lesson there, is that even though we fail, and we have failed taking care of this person, taking care of being this,
Mm.
I know I've done this right, I've done this one thing right, and I took care of the person that I love, and you, Joel, you can do the same thing. And I just
Yeah,
thought it was just staggering, man. Just
yeah,
just
and
Mhm.
yeah, and obviously the thing that you're missing out is that it's two blokes, right? So yeah, that
Well,
we
yeah, and
got to say it because obviously I was like, well, I'm called a homophobe, and now I'm called a
right,
gay, etc. Because I reviewed this
sure.
positively, and what you're missing out there, which is what's caused a lot of backlash. I say a lot. I mean, it's not a lot. There's just I think the issue is, right. Like it's two blokes, and I like how you led off with just the thematic elements in the story rather than saying, yeah, it's two blokes. Because I think the problem is that people were primed. Like the thing is, like I cop a lot of flack, and a lot of people misunderstand me, right?
Hmm.
They think I'm right wing. I'm not right wing. My politics are not right wing. I'm a classical liberal. I'm a centrist. I think both right wing and left wing are lunatics on certain things, and they're all right on some things. I disagree with large portions of both elements of the politics. And I think people misconstrue myself and my opinion on certain things, and because they see videos like the one we've just discussed, which is about the drag stuff, and they see
Mhm.
being anti-gay or anti, anti-LGBTQ, whatever it is, and that's why I was very, very quick to jump in and correct Tom, regardless whether he agreed with me or not. This is not me bad mouthing Tom behind his back, by the way. This is not what I'm trying to do. But that's why I was very, very quick, and I've been quite conscious now of how I come across. Is that there's an important distinction to make there, right? Is that drag shows have no place in Star Wars. But when he said that there was a trans person presenting Star Wars Celebration, that's fine. There's fuck all wrong with that. There's literally nothing wrong with that at all. Person just existing, doing normal things, just being a normal human being. There's nothing wrong with that remotely. And if you do think there is, then yeah, you are a bigot. There's nothing wrong with that.
So
When you're
I want
inserting
to,
things into a scenario of
yeah,
which it's shoehorned in, and there is absolutely an agenda there. So, like when we talk about the drag element, that's an agenda within Star Wars. There's no reason for it to be there. It's shoehorned in. And so people are obviously primed for me personally to rag on this episode because it's two blokes. But you remove that element from it, it's just a love story. There's nothing to dislike about it outside of outside of the fact that it's two blokes if you don't like that. But outside of that, it's just a love story and a powerful one at that.
very powerful. And I
Mm.
on purpose in my video review that I did, I don't mention the fact that there are two men.
Mm.
That's not consequential to me being able to watch a story.
Mm.
Because I'm always professing story, story, story. I was riveted, and I never felt like I was being lectured to or none of that, none of that.
Mm.
And I'm always honest with that stuff,
Mm.
even with like a Latino thing, like with Namor, completely the opposite, right? I was very
Yeah.
excited for it. I was very, yay, and then it was the worst case scenario in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was the best. I didn't even know that this was going to happen. Now that
No, neither
being
did I.
said,
Neither did I.
what's that?
No, neither did I. I had literally no idea
Yeah.
what this episode was going to be like because I'm avoiding watching the previews that they have
Mm-hmm.
releasing for the next week's episode because I do want to go in quite fresh. I've not played the games, so I'm just trying to enjoy it as it is each episode,
Yeah.
which I'm quite enjoying having that sort of fresh, opinion of it without any
Yeah.
influence.
Yeah. And so that being said, the the gay element in it,
Mm.
there's a lot to take from that. I was talking to my girlfriend about it, talking to other friends about it, is that the subtlety in the storytelling
Mm.
that different people will pick up on, which is fantastic. But this episode, it's meant for everyone to enjoy, right?
Mm.
So let me give you an example. They come in, and this is a spoiler time. They just met, and he saves him out of the hole, and he's going to feed him. And so,
Mm.
uh, Bill, is it Bill? Yeah, Bill and Frank.
Yeah, Bill's the survivalist one.
Bill's Frank. Frank is checking out Bill's home for the first time and looks at this shelf, and he takes his finger and he
Yeah, dust.
dust. That's a little insight, guys. That's a little insight. Then getting excited about the piano and the music in there.
Mm.
Another insight, and it's very subtle because it can mean nothing. It can mean
Mm.
something. And I just thought that is how you do it. That is how you do it. And here's the thing, right? If that's not for you, as far as just being uncomfortable, watching two men falling for each other, that's fine. That to me, that is not an
Yeah.
abnormal reaction. That is a normal reaction if you're a straight person, and if you don't want to watch it, turn it off. I totally get it.
Yeah,
Right?
so just to jump in on that,
Yep.
I completely agree. The love story element, perfectly fine, perfectly comfortable with it, absolutely no issue. But the moment the same sex stuff started happening, yeah, like I was a bit like, oh, you know, a bit OTT here. It's not for me. That's just not for me, right? Like, don't enjoy that. Don't enjoy watching that in any way, shape, or form. But there was a cut, so it was a quick cut. Didn't show
Mm-hmm.
anything. And then it's important to note as well, it's not, you know, because someone commented on my video and they were like, "Oh, I can't even let my kids watch this." I'm like, "It's not a fucking kids show. What are you on about? Like, it's not what? It's not a kids show. You shouldn't be letting your kids watch this anyway. Like, it's as far as I was aware, it's not a kids show. I could be wrong. I don't know what the rating is, but I think it airs at a time where, you know, kids wouldn't be watching it. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's aimed at kids in any way, shape, or form. And loads of people are like, well, it didn't happen in the game and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, sure. It didn't happen in the game. This is an adaptation. And, you know, they are condensing the game down. I think it's into like 8 to 10 episodes. That's a lot of story to get through in such a short space of time. And you do have to set up the reasons as to why. I don't know, because I don't know what's going to happen moving forwards or what happens in the game to compare it. But you do have to set up the reason as how Joel gets to where we've introduced him as, to someone that's actually going to give a shit about Ellie. And that love story, which sets up the note at the end, is a powerful way to get Joel just to thinking as to why he should give a shit about Ellie. It's a really good way to do that, you know?
I mean, okay, so two things. One, guys, Nate is absolutely right. This is not if you're coming from it as a big fan of the first video game, and I hear it was like a massive following. It's an adaptation, and you're gonna compare it, and that's tough to do. Those are expectations that no one can fulfill except for you. So I don't know what to tell you. This is a TV show. It's not the video game. And yeah, this and yeah, that. But ultimately, it's up to those storytellers that are working the show. The other thing is, people are talking about how this is just kind of a filler, and why did it have to be a gay filler? Filler. It's like I disagree. You know, it's for two reasons. One, for what you said, Mr. H, as far as the importance of the lessons that Bill and Frank shared with Tess and Joel, the humanity that they shared. I mean, Tess even said, "I needed this." That was a great, very quick scene. It's a flashback where they're having normal friends hanging out, having brunch. I mean, that was a great scene. And you see Joel is just, Joel and Bill are just, such alphas that they're just, just eyeing each other. Bill has his gun on the
gun off me.
Romeo was cracking up at that, but it makes sense. The protectors, and that's a nut, and that's so with that filler, I honestly think, because I'm a huge zombie genre fan, I honestly think The Walking Dead really kind of over the last couple of years ruined the zombie genre for a lot of people, especially weekly television, because that is an example of a show going off its wheels and just becoming about virtue signaling and all that agenda stuff. That's where that was, I've watched every episode. So I honestly think that the writers took cue from The Walking Dead and said, we need to tell this story differently. We're going to jump around with this timeline, and we're going to stay with certain people, whether it's 10 minutes in Jakarta with that lady, or if it's 5 minutes. So or if it's 5 minutes with that intro, or an episode, and it's going to be powerful. And that in the 3 episodes is what I've seen, is all these people giving away the world, like you said, world building. And then how is it influencing Joel and Ellie? Because honestly, if I'm just going to see a story about episode after episode about Joel and Ellie, zombie, right turn corner zombie, left turn corner zombie, that is that is just not gonna be good entertainment for me.
Yeah.
So,
Well, also, I think like so
mhm,
Monix, for instance, and other people are saying the same thing, right? They're like the first episode was an accurate depiction from the game, so why the deviation now? You same people will be very happy if they deviate from the story and the game moving forwards in The Last of Us Part 2. Because if they deviate from that story, you guys will be very, very happy. It's just because it's deviating into a direction which perhaps you didn't appreciate. And that's okay, that's fine. But to overrule or overlook, you know, mine and Paulie's sort of stance on it, um, you're doing yourself a disservice because there's definitely, whether you agree or disagree whether that's the right deviation to take or not, there's definitely a precedent for what we've said in terms of setting things up moving forwards for Joel as a character. It's all there, you know.
it's
It
all
doesn't
there.
it doesn't mean it doesn't mean we're right, but there's definitely precedent for what we're saying to be true and for the setup to be in that vein. So you know, I think sort of walk it back a little bit because saying the deviation stuff, fair enough. But moving forwards, when they get to part 2, you're going to want them to deviate when they have Abby getting a fucking golf club to Joel's face, right? Let's be honest. And also the way they tell that story, you're going to want them to deviate from that into a way which is more palatable to watch. So at least now them deviating, and this is what I said in my review, is it sets up the precedent for them to deviate from it moving forwards, which is a good thing as well. So yeah, I don't know, but I think the pushback from it is unfortunate. You don't have to like it, you don't have to agree with it, you don't have to enjoy watching it, you don't have to be comfortable watching it. But to negate people's opinions, especially when it's well thought out, like you know, me and Paulie have very, very clearly outlined our stances as to why this is well written and good for the future episodes in terms of character building. You know, to sort of overlook that and you know do massive levels of pushback and insults is sad, I will say, at best. That's all I've
Yeah,
got.
listen, I'm not I'm not here to convince anyone to go
Yeah, no,
see it,
definitely not.
right?
You don't have to like
This
it.
is my take, and this is what I'm taking away. And I laid the background. I'm not a gamer. I've never seen the game. Now I'm starting to see little clips here and there, but I even stopped that because I want this. This is how I'm taking it. You know how I'm watching it first,
Mm,
and just enjoying it. And each episode is so different from the other. Why would you want the same thing over and over? That's
mm,
a video game. That's not a television show, guys.
mm.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's really it. And we agree to disagree, move on. But and whatever you think of the what's his name, the Neil guy, the creator.
Neil Druckmann.
Yeah, he's gotten so much. You know, I know a lot of people don't like him, uh,
Mm.
but his creation cannot be denied. I'm totally in. I'm totally riveted. And
Apparently he wasn't. Apparently there's someone else that was more involved in it. I don't know. I just from
oh,
the
okay.
comment. So
I
someone
mean,
will correct in the chat, but apparently there's someone else that's yeah,
yeah, you're
someone
either
else
gonna
that was a
like
bit
it or you're
more
not,
influential.
guys. And I think again that connective tissue of like this the drag story in this, um, you know, it's however you set your principles and values. If it's something just it's not for you, God bless. Carry on. I totally get it.
Mm,
Um, I just thought it was brilliant. I said this in my video. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but another spoiler, guys. Is it Frank, the one that's dying?
yeah,
He's
yeah.
in a wheelchair, a degenerative disease. Uh, Linda
Or a
Ronstadt.
stroke, someone said.
A what?
Or a stroke, someone said in my comments, which I
Oh,
thought was
okay.
quite interesting. Well, it could be both. But who knows?
I've read the description in that as degenerative. Let's just go with
Oh,
that.
that makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
So the song they use by Linda Ronstadt. Uh, was, from the 70s, and Linda is suffering from a degenerative disease right now. So I'm wondering if that was a homage in some way to her legacy, her wonderful music. I was like, that is a nice icing on the cake, because but man,
It's well
yeah,
done.
and I don't want to bore you guys, but I could break down, just there's so much happening in every scene. So it's so easy to say filler when it's not like, people people jumping out of windows and, cracking zombie skulls. I get it. But one of the greatest episodes of The Walking Dead was called The Grove, where it was just basically them, two people talking. And at the end they had to do some crazy stuff. And that was a great episode. And
Well, that's the other thing as well, is that
Mhm.
this slowdown episode for world building and character building and emotional drive, the sort of laying the seeds, right? It also served another purpose, which I said in my review, is that it also pulls back away from the monsters, which you need, because less is more.
Mhm. Mhm.
You saw two in this, and they weren't a threat. They weren't doing anything. They were less than what we've seen previously, because obviously the episode 2 we had the full blown clickers, really
Mhm.
violent, really going for it, and that was a very tense, very very tense episode, because they were new. We hadn't seen them before. We hadn't seen the whole horde the way it had
The
been
horde,
before
the way it
either.
moved, yeah.
So
Mhm.
to have that again the next episode, it would lose its impact. So pulling back, having an episode where you are laying foundations and emotional elements, perfect, great, cool. Because then I guarantee you the next episode, I don't know, I've not seen any of the trailers or whatever, but I can almost guarantee the next episode there will be either another clicker or a bigger, more evil element monster, and it'll be much more impactful. It'll be much more tense because you've pulled back. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be. And you need that. Less is more. You can't have them every single episode. Why do you think The Walking Dead was shit at the end? They're just fucking zombies non-stop all the time. They're not tense when you just see them all the time. It's boring. So boring. It loses its impact. It's good to have a pullback and go, right, well, actually, let's reset it. They're not everywhere. So it means that they could be anywhere, which means it's even more tense at that point.
Yeah, again, I think there's a lot to take away from it, but that's just me, and it's a lot of other people that really blown away by the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Um, and God, there was something else. I
Well,
forgot.
just to
Anyway.
address the chat a little bit, they say
Mhm.
that the clicker virus was spread by spores. Mate, you had to change it. You can't have people in gas masks talking all day long. You'd be pissed off. They'd end up sounding like Bane, all right, from Dark Knight Rises. You can't have a talker like that. It's not. You can't do it.
Well, and
It,
then
it was
you go on,
fine to change it
right,
being spread by
and you go on to
spores.
say it's a poor
Absolutely fine.
decision, and not an adaptation. I mean, it's a complete adaptation. I mean, and
It's an
it's a
adaptation.
decision for the audience. We don't want to see gas mask the entire time. That's actually a really
Mm,
good choice, and,
yeah,
you can make it work. Who
yeah.
else? There's some good comments, guys. You guys are rocking it.
Mm. Yeah, so I think that kind of wraps it up really for episode 3, unless you got anything else to sort of add to it.
No. I mean, I think the backlash that I've seen from other reviewers is that this is an agenda, and they had their
Yeah, but
moment,
they
and
said that about
they
episode
put their
1.
agenda in there, and I think,
They said mm, they said
yeah,
that about episode 1 because they were like, "Well, Joel is just Tess's bitch." It was like Tess fucking dies in the next episode, mate. So you probably should have shut your mouth. Like you jumped the gun way too quick. Literally,
well,
people in episode 1 were like, "Oh, Joel is just Tess's bitch. That's just pushing the agenda. Ah, it's all whamming this, whamming that." It's like, yeah, well, she's dead now. So where's your argument? Oh, well, there's gay stuff. Oh, all right then, okay. At any moment, there's always going to be a reason to displease you, I'm sure. Like at that point, you just can't please these people.
yeah, I think it goes back to, okay, why are you really upset?
Mm.
Do you just not want to see, even though it might be, an incredible story? Do you not just want to? Do you not just want to see gay leading characters? That's fine. That's
Mm.
or is it an agenda? I mean, nothing on television is going to turn you into whatever. I mean, that's a whole nother thought I had, was that the on the flip side, like something that the Star Wars thing is pulling, that's an agenda.
Mm.
That's pretty obvious. Other stuff that we see too, as far as drag shows with children, that that's pretty, that can be pretty vile.
Yeah.
Not this. I don't see these connecting at all. And if
No.
you guys do, and if you have some great insight to that,
Mm.
please, you send me an email, drop me a line. I'm curious to hear your well, actually, probably not. Probably don't. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that about wraps it up. Good
Mhm.
stream.